Well, hello again, ERB sports fans. It is the end of day 4 at the National, and we are ready to go back home. Didn't necessarily take as much show floor content as I did in the previous 3 days, but wanted to just give a quick recap of how things went, what we did today, kind of the highlights, main takeaways from the week. So our week started on Wednesday. We got here around 4:30. Got our VIP tickets, and went ahead and entered the show floor. Stayed pretty much clear till 8 o'clock. One thing that I learned early on when I was doing the live stream for Step in the Box Brett, I noticed that the Wi-Fi in the building was going to be a little bit sketchy, and that was definitely the case for the rest of the week as well. It was not any better today on day 4. There were murmurings that people sort of figured it out. There was some Wi-Fi available that you could get on, and it was sort of sketchy at best, depending on where you were in the building. That's something they'll definitely have to consider if they ever bring this National back to Atlantic City. I think that was really bad on the organizing committee to not have a better plan for that. They had to have seen that coming. Those questions had to have been asked, and somebody dropped the ball on that one. So then, Thursday, really packed. We stayed pretty much the entire time, 10 to 6. Went ahead and picked up some cards, did a highlight video on that. Yesterday, which was Friday, we didn't stay the entire time. We only stayed about 4 hours, and then we kind of ditched the event, did some side things, went to Delaware. You guys saw the highlight video on that. I hope you did enjoy that trip that I made across the Delaware Bay into Delaware, claiming that I'm now 1 state away from hitting all 50 states. So that's pretty exciting. And then today we got there a little bit late. I think we got there around 10:30. Other than a lunch break, pretty much stayed till 5 o'clock. And we were pretty much showed out at that point, and we pretty much spent all the money and resources that we had coming in that we'd intended to. We didn't want to drain our bank account. I'd done a lot of selling on eBay and other sources to sort of build a bankroll back up so that I could actually splurge and have some fun this week. So I'll show you guys a couple of the highlights from the pickups in the last 2 days, and then periodically I'll just kind of interject with some general thoughts on the event itself. So some of the lower end pickups, I think most of these are from yesterday. Got Steph Curry here on the old school. I'd not seen that insert before. I had like $2 listed on that. Figured why not. Steph Curry blue Donruss, the champ is here. Picked that up I think for $5. Steph Curry, this is out of Intrigue, I believe, 2012, 2013. Another one, I've seen these before in other players, but I've not seen a Steph Curry before, so good to add that to the collection. Steph Curry Origins, I think this is 2021. Steph Curry Origins. Pick that one up. Coat of Arms, another. So I have a PSA 9 copy of a die cut from this exact same set from Excalibur from 2016, 2017. Managed to pick up another Coat of Arms. Really like the color match there with the blue and yellow crest at the bottom. My wife picked these up from Slab Stocks, Aaron's dad. I forget his name, but their last name is Nowak, from Franklin, Wisconsin. He got some Will Smith here on the, I think that's the NBA Stay in School NBA Hoops. And then last but not least, these two kind of lower end photogenic Steph Curry. We've got the photogenic pregame and then the photogenic unforgettable from 2015, April 23rd, 2015. So in general, those are some of the lower end pickups. Tell you guys a couple of my thoughts. So the one thing that I think was the main takeaway from the entire week is that prices here, I don't know if it's an East Coast thing or if it's just the national thing. Prices in general on cards that were like over the $50 range were extremely overpriced. Like I said yesterday's video, I had the De'Aaron Fox PSA 9. I have a couple copies of that. I think I have 2 copies of that. And I picked those up on eBay months ago for like 15, 20 bucks. When I saw the guy had a stack of them for $50 on PSA 9 base optic, I laughed at that. I just said, there's no way anybody should pay that. But for some reason, people out on the show floor had prices way inflated in some cases. Now, I think it's probably two things. One, a little bit of denial because the market is down. You've got this East Coast kind of bias. Many people think that, you know, if you get Midwesterners to come in, or East Coast people maybe have a little bit more money than the Midwest people. I'm not trying to be like egotistical there. You know, I'm from the Midwest. I lived in California, and I know how the coastal people think. They think their SH, you know what, does not stink. And they can pretty much do whatever they want, no matter who is in the building. So there's a lot of that ego that kind of plays in. I mean, I'm not saying that all the dealers were from the East Coast, but it just seemed like the dealers, when I go up to their table and I ask them where they're from, if their prices were high, it seemed like they were either from, you know, Philadelphia, New York, somewhere on the East Coast, maybe Florida, California, Vegas. Many of them did not say, oh, I'm from Indiana or from Ohio or from Tennessee. Many of those folks actually were priced sort of competitively. And I think you get that sense when you had like the Midwest Monster a couple months ago, and you had, or maybe just over a month ago, and then you had like the Nashville card show recently and the Dallas card show. So that Midwest influence, I think, had a lot to do with the pricing dynamic. Card Collector 2 said in his highlight videos every day in his recap that he was moving more inventory than he actually had on hand. And Andy from Indie Card Exchange said very much the same thing. Now, I would say being on the show floor for 4 straight days, you got a really good sense of the lay of the land when it came to where things were spatially. And so I would go back to these tables over and over again, and I'd see the cards, and I'd say, well, this guy's literally not selling anything, because I have a pretty good memory when it comes to what was or wasn't out on the show floor. And some of the stuff, if it was overpriced, it wasn't moving at all. There was a guy that had a whole case of Derek Jeter autographs on his, I think it was like SP Authentic Rookie. And there were, I don't remember how many, but whenever I looked at that day after day after day, I somehow managed to go by that guy's case. Either he was restocking and selling and restocking and selling, and he had way more than he could actually shake a stick at. It just didn't seem like anybody was buying those cards. Now, he could have just been showing them off, I don't know. But in cases like that, when your prices are so high on a lot of things, and you can see day after day after day the same dealers not adjusting their prices, not really changing anything, and the stuff just kind of sat there. There was a lot of trades, a lot of buying going on by the dealers. Definitely that was something I didn't expect going in, but the prices were interesting because you either sold a lot because you were priced somewhat competitively, you were flexible on your price, and you were moving, and cash was coming in, and cash was certainly flowing from all the patrons. So, you know, in our case, we were not willing to buy from anybody if they were not willing to budge off their price if we felt it was too high. So, I'll show you guys a couple more highlights as we move on here and kind of wrap up this video. 2 more. We got these pair deal. I think it was $25 for the pair. We've got the clear shots from Illusions, Steph Curry again, and Superstar Steph Curry from, I think this is from Contenders Hobby. So that was my wife's buy. Curry's her favorite, so she definitely couldn't go wrong just trying to buy any Curry she could. But in some cases, she got a little overzealous, and we'll get into that in a bit. A couple other show floor thoughts in general. Show didn't really appear much busier between Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. All the days appeared about the same level of you know, people in the door. It wasn't any more difficult on Friday or Saturday to find a spot to kind of look at stuff versus Thursday. So I think many people expected the show floor foot traffic to sort of pick up on the weekend here on Saturday and over yesterday, but it really didn't appear that was the case. And I think what probably prompted that a little bit would be maybe people, you know, having that work from home flexibility and just wanting to come in for one day and sort of picked and said, hey, I think I could come in on Thursday because that might be the less busy day, and it actually ended up being the more busy day. And then people, word gets out and people are like, well, should I go? Should I not go? The prices are really high, so maybe I don't want to go, or maybe I just want to check it out. And there was definitely an element of that came into play. So another pickup here that I'll show you before I get into my next kind of takeaway. This was my purchase. This was one of my purchases of the show. This is a De'Aaron Fox Prism Mosaic 2017 PSA 10. Guy had $100 marked on it. We settled on $85. eBay comps were right around $100, so he did have it priced pretty competitively. He just didn't want to budge too much. I think I offered him at first like $75, and he kind of looked at me and said, no way. It's priced competitively. I'm not going to budge that much. And he was down to 90, and I was up to like 80, and I said, would you take 85? And we settled on 85. So you win some, you lose some. Being able to feel like you're negotiating was certainly fun and interesting. Anyway, as I was saying, getting back to the topic, De'Aaron Fox PSA 10 Orange Mosaic. It's one I didn't have. I wanted to make sure that I got something of De'Aaron Fox, but didn't want to break the bank on anything or get anything that I have already. I saw a few things that I did already have. There was a guy that actually had a De'Aaron Fox pre-graded Beckett from the sleeve kind of pre-grading service. It was a 9.5 Silver Prism. Really liked the card. Did look at the card and kind of gave it a really good inspection. It could have got a Gem Mint 10 if you were grading it with PSA. He wanted $200 for it. I kind of passed. I just said, recent comps on a Silver Prism of BGS 9.5s for De'Aaron Fox were right around $100 to $150, and the most I could go is probably like $140. He was not willing to budge at all. So he just said, nope, $200. That's it. Can't go any lower. I said, okay, well, you can keep the card for now. I'll move on, find another copy. There are more fish in the sea when it comes to Silver Prisms. It's not like you're holding the only one. So a couple more cards to show off, and then we'll wrap up the video. But other takeaways, really great time spending with all the YouTube creators out there. Spent a lot of time interacting with Neo Cards and Comics again. I always happen to run into him on the show floor. I don't know why, but maybe we were just in the right place at the right time and we happened to bump into each other. It was always, I think he, more than anybody on the show floor, I was seeing regularly. I kind of saw him multiple times during each day. Instead of a couple guys where I didn't even see them at all. I think they were apparently here. I did not see them at all. I saw Jeff Wilson a bunch of times. Jeff does not know who I am. Maybe Teapot will mention something to him after I met Teapot at the trade night. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, Teapot. Really appreciate that. Tell all the team at Sports Card Investor to subscribe to ERB Sports. Really appreciate that. I'll definitely be looking to some more fun content, variety. We're going to do some eating stuff coming up. We're going to definitely do more betting. I know you guys are kind of exclusively sports cards, but I'm a variety channel at its finest, I think. And we definitely will be doing more of that coming up. Getting back to what I was saying about the show in general and YouTube creator content, the one thing that I did take away from all the interaction is that these can be friendships that last a very long time. You have to be persistent at it. They don't know you. You don't know them necessarily on that level of depth. And so that trust and that respect is earned over time. It's not going to happen overnight. So if you're a new YouTube channel out there and you want to get more visibility, you've just got to be persistent. Persistent. I think one of the presidents, former presidents once said, the only thing in life that kind of earns you anything is persistence. It's the one skill that many don't have and will learn a lifetime or spend a lifetime learning how to be persistent. So in my trials and tribulations within my engineering work in aerospace, it is a slow grind, and I definitely learn a lot of persistence over the years. So it could be a little bit annoying at the same time, but it is something that I am continuing to work on every time I meet new people, is how to break the ice and make sure that you build that relationship quickly, rather than sort of shying away from it and being afraid to actually kind of open yourself up and make yourself available in terms of things that you might offer in advice, or that it's not all about just kind of using them to for your own self-interest. It's really just about making sure that you have a good solid friendship foundation there that you can continue to build on, because you share a common interest, sports cards. So another couple pickups. I'll try to show these in order. The next card I got is a Ke'Bryan Hayes on-card auto out of Gypsy Queen. The guy had $30 marked on this. I thought he actually had it underpriced, given the fact that most other things on the show floor were way overpriced. He had $30 and I offered him $25. He took it. Maybe I could have gone 20 and he probably would have taken it, but I think we were probably destined to settle on 25 anyway. And so in that case, I would be happy with that result. It's the first on-card auto I have of Ke'Bryan Hayes. I've got, like I said, the super short print, the Meyer Purple, the Roberto Clemente variation from Gypsy Queen, and some pretty cool cards from Ke'Bryan Hayes that I've amassed. Think the kid has a bright future and definitely will be paying attention to his career as it materializes here in the near future. 2 cards left that we'll show you from the last 2 days, and we'll kind of leave it there. So the next final thought that I had as far as the takeaways from the National, the corporate presence was bigger this year. I think many people said that it was bigger this year than in past years, and they felt like it would continue to grow. The risk with that is it sort of becomes more of a, like, sports card entertainment, and it becomes all about the corporate hype machine. That can rub a few collectors the wrong way. This National had something for everybody. You had people that were not even selling sports cards, selling vintage whatever, like relics and things of presidential nature, or things of Americana or Hollywood. And you'll probably still see more of that. But I think the next time the National comes around in 1 year's time, you will probably see that corporate base expand even more so. I feel like it would probably expand by another 20 to 30%. The Breakers Pavilion was absolutely massive, and the corporate presence in the middle with your Topps, your Panini, your Upper Deck, Beckett, you name it, all the auction houses would definitely be growing and growing over time. And one more thing about the auction houses. I don't know what the deal is, but Ken Golden, he's the only guy in, and I know there's a lot of big high-end cards in Golden, but Ken Golden is the only guy I know who hired private security to tail him around everywhere he went. Now, maybe some of the celebrity autograph signers had the same thing, but I just kind of was shocked by that. I'm like, Ken must think very highly of himself, or maybe he just gets, people make phone calls and put threats on his life or something. I don't know. Ken Golden had strong men around him all the time. Now, I don't know him personally, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it's warranted, but it just struck me as like, do you really need that level of security when you're the only guy in the building with that level of security who's not already a celebrity? You must think very highly of yourself. I think we already knew that. But again, he's running a business no different than like a Topps or a Panini or Heritage Auction or Pristine Auction. He's got a history. He's been on TV before, has a reputation. Not always the shiniest reputation, but I will say it was kind of funny that when I saw him today, there was this guy that was like 6'7" in a suit with an earpiece, and it's just like, okay, all right. So literally everywhere you go inside this building, there's going to be security. Great. That's good. That means you're going to be taken care of. But it's also sort of interesting because Jeff Wilson doesn't have that. Jeff has a very, very big YouTube following, runs a very, entrepreneur-based business. You've got a lot of, high-end breaking products that people are literally breaking flawless hobby boxes on camera. There's not security standing around there, but Ken Golden needed security everywhere he went. So I thought that was funny. But anyway, just something that popped into my head. So as we finish here, I'll show you guys 2 more cards. We'll go one at a time. This next card here is a Stephen Curry Select die cut. I got this actually from a dealer that I think is either based out of the Chicago area or Indiana. I recognized the guy from my local card show. He had a friend that he was kind of sharing his booth with, and this card is numbered 62 out of 65. It is a green die cut from Premier Level from 2017 Select. I told my wife to go and offer $100 on that because it was listed for $125. Now the words came out of her mouth without me even, and I could have easily just said the first offer, but I hear, "Would you take 120?" And I was like, "Oh, you did not just say that." And she's like, I said, "Did you realize that like you gave the guy almost a gift because the sticker was $125. He had $125 marked on it. Now it wasn't a bad price, but let's be honest, you never offer that first." And I was just like, "Oh my gosh. Wow, you've never done this before, have you?" And she's like, "No, I totally spaced it. I didn't even realize that I was saying that, and before I realized I had said it, I'd already said it." She's like, "I feel bad. I actually could have got that card for cheaper, but I asked the guy, would he take 120, and he of course said, 'Sure, I can do that,' because it was probably too much." But we're Steph Curry collectors, and honestly, card looks cool. I don't really care. Probably would have saved us $10, $15. So what? Big deal. Move on. Fight another day. So, one more card I'm going to show you. This was probably our biggest pickup of the entire National, other than, I think this was probably the biggest pickup of the National. All my preview videos, I said I was after, I think, 3 or 4 players. I said I'm going to be a softie for De'Aaron Fox. I'm going to be after Steph Curry. I'm going to be after Robin Yount and Paul Molitor. I stayed the course, and I came home with a Robin Yount rookie, a Paul Molitor rookie, a lot of cool Steph Curry cards, and 1 De'Aaron Fox card. And I said the other guy that we are on the lookout for is Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Bucks. We had 1 rookie that we got in a PSA 8 copy from my brother-in-law for like $70. It wasn't anything special, but we were really keen to walk away. We had like $300 left to spend that we figured, what are we going to do with that $300? We're going to go buy more sealed product to go get free Topps packs and then sort of gamble, or do we want to walk the show floor methodically and make sure we didn't miss any copies of a Giannis rookie that really piqued our interest? And so we came across these 2 young gentlemen on the very far end of the show floor near the autograph section, and they had a Giannis PSA 10 Hoops rookie. That's Hoops. I know it's not great, but they had 350 marked on it, and we settled on 300, and I felt like that was a fair deal. And here's why. One, I think comps are right around 350 anyway, so they did have it marked right around comps, and it's understandable. These were younger kids who probably know the drill. Mark it near comps. You're trying to move product. Don't be greedy. I saw that same card. I think we saw it a couple times, not a lot, but a couple times on the show floor, and almost every single time it was either $400, $450, or $500 that was marked on this very same card. So I could not fathom buying that card for $500. And I know there's no way I would have gotten it for $300 if the guy had listed $500. He probably would have said, "No, I'll take $450 or I'll take $475." We just walk away. So we didn't know we'd be buying that card, but when I saw the price on the back and I thought, these are kids that want to move this card. We had about that much in funds left that we had in cash. I didn't want to make another ATM withdrawal from the card account, and I thought, well, we're either going to end it here or he's going to say no. If he says no, we're going to move on. And he said yes, and so we're walking home with a PSA 10 Hoops Giannis Antetokounmpo rookie card. The first PSA 10 of a Giannis rookie card that we have in our collection, and it is something that I don't plan on selling for at least a couple years. I would probably plan on working my way up into maybe a Prism or a Select copy eventually, but we'll have to see how that goes. So all in all, 4 days, a lot to take in, a lot of ground we covered. I don't know how many miles we walked inside that show floor, or how sore our backs are. We kind of built up sort of a callus to that over the last couple of days, but it was a lot of fun, and I will definitely be going to next year's National. Now, one thing I will say that I'm going to do differently next year, it's in Chicago again, which is only a 3-hour drive for us instead of a 10-hour drive like it was this year in Atlantic City. So we made an event out of it. We bought the VIP pass. We thought, well, we're going to go for all the days, and we're going to have a lot of fun, and it'll come in handy. Well, I think the lesson we learned there is that the VIP pass is not actually needed. We could have easily just bought 2 general admission days and probably been content with that, and maybe even 3, and that would have cost us $75 a person instead of like $150 a person. The VIP was cool because it gave you a separate entrance, kind of made you feel like you were kind of taken more care of. You'd do the half hour early or whatever. We had to drive there every day instead of walking distance, so we never actually used the early entry to our advantage. We came there pretty much when the general admission were being allowed to enter every single day. And so I think that was sort of a kind of a downer. Oh, one more thing. I had some sealed hobby products that I actually brought with me for fun that I was going to rip. I was actually going to record them from the hotel room, but I did not actually open them. And I'm sitting on these and I'm thinking this morning, like, I wonder, because you could buy product on the show floor, and I was like, these were destined to be opened anyway. So I actually happened to have the bright idea to pack them in my bag and bring them to the show and have Topps take the wrapper off so I could get one of these and another one of those black Bowman packs that has 4 cards with the potential for like a gold or a superfractor or something. So in this pack is either a Bobby Witt Jr., a Spencer Torkelson, or a Julio Rodriguez. It could be a base, it could be a numbered card. You don't know. But nevertheless, for a box that I was going to open anyway, I figured, why the heck not? This seemed like a good deal, and so we're going to rip that on camera eventually. I don't know if I'll do it right now. I probably will. I don't know. I'll probably wait on that, make a separate video when I get home tomorrow, and I'll go ahead and rip this along with the other Nationals packs and see how that turns out. So really fun time here in Atlantic City. Goodbye for now. Take care, everybody. ERB Sports, we are out, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.